It finished 40 points to 4. Warrington going scoreless in that second half. 8,278 were there. Jack Smith was the referee. And on the team stats, Leeds they had one error less and 3 fewer penalties conceded. They had a hell of a lot more ball. I think 60 odd more carries. Made 553 more meters. So even though sides made ground at the same average gain because they had a lot more carries too. 9 breaks to 5 and a better team tackle success rate. That rounds off what I'd say is a comprehensive stats win as well as a more than comprehensive scoreboard win for the Rhinos. What about the individuals?
So individually for Leeds, it was Ash Hanley with 2 tries, 224 metres and 2 clean breaks. Zach Hardacre with 1 try, 1 try assist, 10 tackle busts, 191 metres and 2 clean breaks. Matt Pryor with 144 metres. Cam Smith with 1 try assist and 137 metres. And for Warrington, it was Ollie Holmes with making 40 tackles. Peter Matautia with 139 metres. Toby King with 136 metres and 3 offloads. And George Williams with 5 tackle busts and 114 metres.
And Callum Percy got in on touch on this one. He said,
David Hunter said, not our year. I was worried about the coaching change and I'm even more worried now.
And Dr. Bob Phillips said, it's definitely their year. Good to see heads up and playing what was in front of them. Not a patch on the opening game of the season, but good for us. We're well on the way to a grand final with Myler and Hanley and Martin and Smiths taking us there. Carried away much?
Yeah, you only get in touch once in a blue moon, Dr. Bob.
No, he gets in touch every week.
Does he?
Yeah. He just only says positive things about Leeds once in a blue moon.
Okay, fair enough. So Lee Whitnell said, this team has churned out some shit over the years, but this is the worst I've seen. Utter wank from minute 1 to the moment I gave up and walked out. They looked utterly disinterested. Not a single player deserves credit, and each and every one of them should be ashamed of themselves. Leeds merely required warm bodies in pink shirts, and their victory assured. Fucking disgraceful.
Pop the Viking said, Wire started the better, but couldn't convert pressure to points. But then Leeds started to play. Some great tries and well-deserved win for the Rhinos. Do Wire stick with Powell, or is it time to cut their losses and get rid?
Not just yet.
Big question, that.
Yeah. Rich Owen said, a shambolic and really worrying performance. I came into this game full of optimism for the second half of the season after the St Helens performance, but how wrong was I? That was shit all over the park. We couldn't complete a set in the second half and we made Leeds look like world beaters. Not sure where we go from here.
White Pie says, seems like the challenge George wanted was avoiding relegation. And EFC78JU said, another embarrassment of a home game, but this time to Leeds scum Rhinos. The thing that makes it worse is we only got 1 try compared to their 8. This Warrington team does not deserve the support from us fans that have to sit there week in, week out watching them lose. Interesting stuff. The Wire fans are clearly fuming, aren't they?
Yeah.
And actually, I suppose in a way, some of the unsavoury stuff after the match between the players and the fans arguing amongst each other and between themselves and stuff, that probably makes the story of this game more about Wire's demise than about Leeds' resurgence, which is a little bit of a shame for the Leeds fans' perspective, but only one of them got in touch with us this week on the game. So let's lean a bit more first into what's going on with Warrington. I thought they looked quite good at times, which is strange to say when the end result was so one-sided and they made so many mistakes in the second half.
Yeah, so I do as a responsible podcaster, I started off by making notes on this game, which got to 2 breaks for Wire down their right-hand side, but leading to panic rugby and giving the ball up. That was the end of my notes because there was just nothing else to say after that other than Leeds just pulverised them.
Yeah, Warrington didn't take their chances at that early stage when they still, were threatening, but like you say, falling apart when they got into positions to actually do anything with those threats. Whilst Leeds did take their chances, and it was a much improved attacking display from Leeds because they've been absolutely garbage with the ball to this point this year. But also their goal line defence and their scramble, that needs complementing here because there was 4 or 5 real try savers in the game, 2 in the first 5 minutes, but more as the game went on as well. And there was one that particularly stood out on George Williams, I think, where even the commentators were basically calling it a try, and then they realised no, they'd stopped him again, and that was probably the 4th time they'd done it. There was the Widdop one, the Matautia one, there was loads of them, and so they executed at the top end of the pitch, and that's great. But defensively, they were great too. I think that's where, for me, I wanted to talk more about Leeds' impressiveness rather than Wyre's abjectness, but it doesn't always go that way.
No, it's funny because on Thursday night, Joshua had been refereeing a different match, and it wasn't a very balanced match. It was literally, by the second half, it was one team scores, the other team kicks off, the team get the ball, score, then obviously kick off, ball return, score. And it felt like I was watching that again on Friday night.
Yeah, especially the 2 sort of spells. That spell around the half-hour mark in the first half where Leeds took the game away, where they scored, I think 3 tries in 6 minutes. And then the last 10 minutes as well, of course, the last 10, 15 minutes where they scored another 3 tries. But, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it just, it felt a bit mean making Warrington kick off to Leeds for them to just get the other end of the score.
I think Cruz Leeming was exceptional for Leeds. I think his play, the 2 plays leading up to the first Leeds try, the Fuzzatua try, he put the kick in, which was brilliant. But even on the play before that, he set up the play with a good bit of dummy half run, then a pass to Smith, who was supporting, got a quick play of the ball, and it was almost identical to the position Holmes had found himself in up the other end of the field, and then Wyre couldn't execute off the back of him getting tackled, whereas when Smith got tackled, Leeds were composed and executed and scored. I think Hardacre, he looks slimmer in a Leeds shirt. I don't know if it's because the Wigan shirt was horizontal hoops and made him look fatter, but I don't know what it is, but he looks slimmer and a bit nippier in a Leeds shirt. And
maybe it's the fact that he's not having to travel up the M62 every day, and that's when he was eating all his sweets and chocolate.
Yeah, but he wasn't, was he? He was made to live in Wigan. That was the problem, weren't it?
No, but didn't he move back?
He did move back just before it all went to shit. Yeah, but he looked good. You got to be, it's fair to say that Leeming's try was good play involving both of them, weren't it? Maybe Myler's inside ball was borderline, but hey, it was Leeds being creative and positive with the ball, which is not what we've seen from Leeds earlier this year. So yeah. I think sometimes the odd borderline call going when it's good attacking play is, it swings and roundabouts with that sort of stuff. But
and it's what we always say, isn't it, that when it's going for you, it's going to go for you.
Yeah, exactly. They scored some nice tries. They also scored some easy tries. I mean, Ash Hanley, great stat line from Ash Hanley this week. He scored 2 of the easiest tries he'll ever get.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I just felt like there was nothing really to say about it. It was one-way traffic.
What do you make then of the question Paul asked about Wyre cutting the losses? I don't. It seems to me more likely that they're going to have a cull of players, and that's more the maybe that. And Brian Carney talked about it, didn't he, in the aftermatch stuff? Maybe that's a bigger factor here anyway. And they've been talking about it on Sky all year, really. Whenever Warrington are on TV, the amount of out of contract players, the amount of uncertainty that creates and stuff, and clearly they haven't risen to the challenge of winning contracts. They've already decided they weren't players for this new coach, and also the other way around, the coach decided they weren't players for him. But it's do you think there's any danger of Powell going this year, even if this slide continues, assuming they don't genuinely get involved in a relegation battle?
I can't see it. He's a coach new into the club, isn't he? After what's his face, Price. was there for a considerable amount of time.
Yeah,
I think,
he was there for about 4 years, wasn't he?
Yeah,
And
I
then
think.
Smith before that was there for a long time too.
Yeah, so I can't see him actually being got rid of. I think you've got to question the attitude of players. Did Lee, Lee talked about they all look disinterested. Well, that's not the coach's doing, is it? The players, whatever happens off the field, the players can still make the decision to go out there and play.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of, I guess, internal fire as well as what gets put into you by the coaches, doesn't there? You'd expect that. And it's not like they've not got senior players who are leadership players as well within that group that are being questioned.
I don't know, was it a 3-year deal he signed on?
I think it was certainly not a short-term contract. So
are they going to want to pay him off? And then if they do, who is there to replace him with? Other than Rich Cigar?
Yeah. Well, it's like, do they leave this season as assuming that they get enough wins to not be really in a relegation battle with Toulouse, then you almost think they've been through enough heartache already. Surely they want to see a turnaround with what they've got and what they're looking all ready to do for next year. Otherwise, they might end up with a situation with another coach who's dealing with another group of players that there's not a compatibility there, and then they have to go through the cycle too many times.
All of his pals over from Castleford, hasn't he? Has that caused unrest in that, he's come with his pals and and the old Warrington players aren't happy with that, or and in a lot of regards he's inherited players that he possibly wouldn't have chosen.
I also think you would have expected he would have been challenged to make the squad a little bit younger, although, and I suppose arguably replacing a 33-year-old prop with a 31-year-old prop is making the squad younger, but
yeah.
But overall, that might have been a theme there. Start to play more of the players that are coming through the system as well, and develop them and look.
Yeah, I think you have to give coaches time to actually make a squad their own. And if you've got players who are on contracts, you can't get rid of them very easily just because you don't like them.
No. Well, one of the players that he brought over, who's probably been one of Warrington's best performance actually this season overall, is Peter Matautia, but he got a grade B dangerous contact charge, 1 match penalty notice for him, so he'll be missed in their game next week. A few Leeds re-signings. Corey Johnson has signed a new 2-year contract with Leeds, the young hooker. Halfback Blake Austin, who probably had his best game in a Leeds shirt against his former club in this week. He's extended his deal with Leeds for an extra year, so basically picked up the 1 year extra option, it looks like there. And forward Jared O'Connor has signed a new 3-year deal with the Rhinos, so long-term tying down Jared O'Connor there for the Rhinos.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Saturday, and the Channel 4 television game was Castleford versus Cup winners Wigan. It was 12-4 at half-time after Wigan went 12-0 down for the third game in a row, but this time Wigan did mount a comeback. They won 32 points to 12 in the end. It was 6,497. The attendance, James Child was the referee. Unfortunately, we've got incomplete team stats on this one, with a couple of castmate players missing from the Super League website numbers. So we don't have all of the stats, but we do have some impressive individual numbers to call out anyway, Sarah. So do you want to go through them?
Yeah, so for Wigan, it was Liam Marshall with 2 tries, 1 tackle, 1 try assist, and 155 metres and 3 clean breaks. Ethan Havard with 123 metres, Bevan French with 1 try, 2 try assists, 10 tackle busts and 122 metres, and Ollie Partington made 120 metres. For the losing team, it was Joe Westerman with 40 tackles, Mahe Fanua 5 tackle busts and 125 metres, Kenny Edwards with 1 try, 7 tackle busts and 124 metres, and Beretta Farema with 5 tackle busts and 104 metres.
Barney at Baton Hall Blue said, great for the Tigers to give the Lebanon team a boost in the run-up to the World Cup. Yes, even Abbas Miski scored. I thought he was good this week, Miski.
Yeah. Callum Percy, 99, the Wigan drummer, said, wow, what a win. For sure a game of two halves.